When we think about these massive food empires, we usually assume they were cooked up in a boardroom with some genius master plan, right? But the story of the Kellogg's cornflake is the exact opposite. It's really a wild tale about a lucky mistake, a bitter family feud, and a desperate attempt to fix the stomachs of an entire nation. So just take a second and think about your own breakfast routine this morning. Maybe you poured a bowl of cereal, grabbed some fruit, maybe some toast, or honestly, maybe you just chugged a coffee on your way out the door. We are so incredibly used to our modern, convenient, relatively light morning meals. But to really wrap our heads around why the cornflake was invented, we have to completely wipe that modern image from our minds. We need to go back in time and look at the truly bizarre, kind of horrifying reality of what American mornings used to look like. Because, let me tell you, early Americans did not hold back. They would eat absolutely anything for breakfast. The typical morning meal back then was incredibly heavy, usually deep fried and just dripping with oil. And as you can probably guess, eating like that had some pretty massive consequences. It essentially created an entire country of people walking around with chronic upset stomachs, severe acidity, and just general digestive misery. People were desperate for a healthier way to start the day. So let's look at how this quest for health actually sparked a revolution. Enter Dr. John Harvey Kellogg. He was a strict health fanatic, and he ran a wellness spa in Michigan called the Battle Creek Sanitarium. Dr. John, along with his brother Will Kellogg, was on a mission to create a healthy breakfast to cure all those stomach woes. In 1887, they came up with this rather intense three-step process. First, they mixed cornmeal and oatmeal into a super thick dough. Then, they threw in some nuts and baked the whole thing into these rock-hard biscuits. Finally, they crushed those hard biscuits up into little pieces. They served this to their spa patients, and while it was definitely healthy, it was also totally brutally bland. Now, here's where it gets kind of funny. They originally named this crumbled biscuit invention Granula, but they hit a massive legal wall almost immediately. Turns out, way back in 1863, a guy named James Caleb Jackson had already invented a similar product and trademarked the name Granula. So to dodge a massive copyright lawsuit, the Kellogg brothers literally just changed one single letter. They swapped the U for no, and boom, granola was born. So the granola was doing okay, but history loves a plot twist. Picture this, the brothers are working in the sanitarium kitchen, right in the middle of heating up some wheat to make crackers. The heat is on, the process is going, and suddenly they get called away on an urgent emergency. They have to completely abandon the kitchen. And this right here is the million-dollar moment. What actually happens when you just walk away and abandon your baking? Well, when they finally got back, that wheat dough had kept heating up and then completely cooled down into a stale, hard crisp. But instead of just tossing it in the trash, they figured, hey, let's run it through the roller anyway. They fully expected it to flatten out into one long, continuous sheet of dough, like it always did. But to their absolute shock, when the roller hit that crisp dough, it shattered. It broke apart into all these separate little individual flakes. They tasted these weird, accidental wheat flakes and instantly knew they had struck gold. The spa patrons absolutely devoured them. So the Kellogg's started going crazy with the experiments, testing this flaking process on every grain they could find. And finally, in 1898, they decided to try it with corn. The results? Spectacular. The patients were obsessed. And just like that, the cornflake was officially born. This is where the family absolutely fractures. It's a classic showdown, medical purity versus commercial gold. Dr. John Kellogg was adamant that the flakes were perfect exactly as they were, bland, healthy, and strictly zero sugar. To him, it was medicine. But Will was a businessman. He looked at the growing cereal market and knew that if they just added a little bit of sugar, it would taste infinitely better and they could sell it to millions. But John flat out refused. So for a long time, the flakes stayed totally unsweetened. You can actually trace this entire escalation right here. We go from Jackson's Granula in 1863 to the brothers' Granula in 1887 to the lucky cornflake accident in 1898. But that argument over sugar, it kept boiling over for 8 long years. Finally, the tension just snapped. In 1906, Will made the ultimate move. He officially walked away and separated from his brother, John. That very same year, Will bought the rights to the cornflake and launched his own solo venture, the Battle Creek Toasted Cornflake Company. Totally free from his brother's strict rules, Will finally did it. He added the sugar. He started mass-producing this sweetened version of the cereal, and you guessed it, it was an overnight, massive sensation. But this is so much bigger than just making breakfast sweeter. By adding sugar to drive mass sales, Will Kellogg was essentially inventing the modern processed food and marketing industry. But John wasn't going down without a fight. As Will's sugary cereal exploded in popularity, an incredibly bitter, dragged-out legal war erupted over who actually owned the rights to the Kellogg family name. It went all the way through the courts until, finally, Will emerged victorious. He won the exclusive rights to the name, officially forming the Kellogg Cereal Company, the exact same global powerhouse you see in grocery stores today. To truly appreciate how wild this legacy is, let's look at some trivia. Have you ever actually wondered where the word cereal comes from? It actually dates all the way back to Cerealia, which was an ancient Greek festival dedicated to Ceres, the goddess of agriculture. So kind of wild to think about, but every time you pour a bowl of modern breakfast flakes, you're actually nodding to ancient mythology and ancient harvest celebrations. And we go straight from the ancient world to the literal pinnacle of human achievement, Apollo 11. That's right, this accidental, hardened flake of dough that started in a 19th century spa actually made it to the moon. Astronauts on the historic Apollo 11 mission were literally eating Kellogg's cornflakes up in space. It's honestly crazy how one tiny kitchen mistake completely changed how the world eats. Which leaves us with a pretty fun thought. Think about all those wild, super sweet cereal flavors you see in the aisles today. How completely different would your morning routine be right now if Will Kellogg had just backed down? What if he never split from his brother, never added that sugar, and never won that lawsuit? We might literally all still be chewing on hard, unsweetened biscuit crumbles just to settle our stomachs. Something to think about the next time you pour a bowl.